performing. And at the time, I kind of had some homeboys that they only believed in nothing else but me. So we were like 50 deep. They actually came to the club door. They talked to Juicy J, but Juicy J really was kind of hesitant about letting them in because it was like I said, it was 50 of them, and nobody had an ounce of home training. And they were screaming and yelling. So one of them said, "Man, you know what? We ain't gonna pay you top dollar for everybody, cause it's 50 of us. Matter of fact, I tell you, the only way we do that is if you listen to my little cousin." From that point on, I started beating on the glass and rapping to them. Now we on Beale Street. They call it the Plus Club now. And I don't know how many people just stop and start listening. Cause I'm used to just like at the school table, you beat on the table and rap. I just happened to be the rapper they could beat on the table and rap at the same. I never needed someone else to do it. So I could take on two dudes at one time, one dude at one time. So I took that trait and I approached Juicy J with it. From that day forward, he called me in. I rapped to him again, one-on-one, where he can actually just hear me. The next day, he recorded Hold Your Breath and Break Yourself, and I ended up riding the Chevy on the spot to play a fly one on the song, and he ended up being on the later on. And from that point forward, I really don't know what happened. It just was like, I was with Juicy one day, and the next day, I got this name, and from that day forward, I
It was just
stuck.
meant to be. When you were with 3 6 Mafia, you were most known for your unique style and raw lyrics. What do you think enabled you to set yourself outside of the rest, be it in Memphis or nationwide?
Everybody I knew during my time, they wanted to fight their own way. They wanted to rap their own way. They wanted to dress their own way. I don't care if they had Jordans on. Everybody wanted to do it their own way. So when I did it, I didn't necessarily strike out to be like, wow, I'm a trendsetter. A few years later, that happened. And when I started rapping, I was actually a fan of myself. I actually liked it. My own lyrics, and people always told me, something about your voice. It's like you creeping up on people. And I was like, how do you sound like this? You know, and it was like, this man just told me I sound like I'm creeping up on people, and this is what they're actually they fascinated with it. So the more I took my style from slow, I would speed it up, slow it down. So I started playing with it till it became something that not only that they like, I just like to wake up in the morning and play with it before they even got a chance to hear what I've been playing with. So that's kind of how I came up with my style. I didn't hear nobody doing it, and I knew the minute I opened my mouth up, it'll set me outside the rest. I didn't know all the rest of the stuff was gonna come with that, but that's how I ended up with this.
After a year and a half, you decided to split from the group and went solo. What inspired that move, and do you think it hurt you more or it helped you more?
You know what? I want everybody to understand this. Ever since I was 14 years old, I worked at this church called Making Road Church of Christ. I used to clean a bed or like rocks up for the kids to play in. When I would get the rocks back up and push them back in there so it would stay, just right. And my daddy did buffing and waxing the floors. He actually, everything in that building to do, he done it. I would go to the restaurant with Juicy J, and at times I would have to, he would pick his girlfriend up and he would buy me a sandwich and hear about her a sandwich, and the next day about both of us a sandwich, and the next day both of us a sandwich, and it just didn't feel right. I mean, at 14 years old, I used to lend my auntie money. I had a bank account in Memphis Area Teacher Credit Union. Since I was small, my mama always taught me, whatever you do, make sure you pay for whatever you work hard for, and put anything, you sweat any sweat about it. You make sure you get what you're supposed to get out of it, because it's already hard enough to maintain that. So you have to make sure you put that security blanket over everything you do. When you begin to have a family and take care of responsibilities and bills, you'll understand that security blanket. And when it's one thing to go to the streets and have your homeboy, they just come off the lot with 3 different Cadillacs and got money across the table and cocaine on tables like this. And you come back from drop the song with Juicy J them, and it's like, hey man, can you take me over this girl house? Or can you let me borrow $10? Or at the time I was 17, I wasn't staying with my mom, I was staying on the streets. So I was kind of like, it was completely fending for yourself at all costs. Whatever I needed to get, I had to get it for myself, not to complain. That's just a thing that anybody on the face of this earth is going to have to come into. It's just, at that time, I had grown people following me around. Grown people were listening to a child. I mean, if I wanted to have, I don't know how to say this to y'all, but if I wanted to have sex with a grown woman, it was snap my fingers. No one was there to say, you're a kid. You need to be a kid for a minute and slow down and do what it is you
There
need
were
to
no
do.
boundaries or
There was
rules
no
or
boundaries for me.
limitations.
So it was like everything I touched, if I wanted it, I got it. If I wanted it, I took it. If I seen it, it was mine. And I kind of felt like the world owed me something, like a lot of these young guys do now, and don't nobody owe you nothing but you. You know, and I had that messed up concept about it. And that, it wasn't so bad what Juicy was doing, but by me being such a, when I was a kid, we used to race to empty garbage cans. By my mom being a candy lady, I would make more money because I was able to accumulate more quarters. So by the time the popsicle man came, I was always the top dog. You know, guys in my classroom in the ninth grade used to have food stamps when they was in paper this big, wads of food stamps and wads of money. And it was so hard to focus, on, certain things because it was like they would leave school and go buy Jordans and come back with new Jordans. I'm like, Mom, no, you got to really got to step it up, Mom. And she didn't understand nothing what I was saying because she was like, you got everything. I was like, no, they got everything. So they got me so far off track. I got in the streets and I kind of, at the time I was snorting cocaine. Everybody that knew me knew if he got a certain look on his face, just leave him alone, don't talk to him because he ain't himself no more. And from that point on, I started hanging out with all the robbers, all the guys that just weren't good for what I was doing. 7 years later, I ended up in, I don't know, 5 different prisons. I even ended up locked up with James Earl Ray and Tony Carruthers. And that was, at that point I knew it was time to come back home and focus more on being me. No, not the music, not the little Noid name, Derek, me. Not the image, none of that. And that's why that's why I'm so adamant about not just coming back to be on top or for to be the next rumor or the next hearsay. If I can change some things, I would like to change them because I know when I was around I made them bad. So if I can make them good, I'm not going to force nobody's hand or twist their arm. But if I can make them better.
After being released from prison, what was your main focus and who was the first contact you made when you came home?
Oh, a lot of people do not believe this and a lot of people don't know how to take it. My main focus was to flat foot clear my name. And that sounds so crazy to go back to 7 years in a place where everybody know you and you want to clear your name up and they've been knowing you for one thing all your life. Some people don't let you do that. So I went through a lot of struggling back and forth with who I was and who I am, and I lost a lot of friends. I gained a lot of enemies in the process. But the first somebody I called was Gangsta Black because I figured if I was going to talk to anybody, he was the more, how can I put this? He was more grounded and more settled to talk to. I didn't have to talk to a lot of ego and attitude. When I talked to him, I could talk directly to him and get it straight up and down. And when I talked to him, there's a lot of stuff he said I did not want to hear, but from my mouth to your head, thank you, Gangsta, because I really do understand what you was trying to say, even though it may not have been working for him as he may want it to be. It worked wonders for me.
So now that you are back and your name is beginning to regain recognition, tell us what up-and-coming projects you have for us as a solo artist or otherwise.